Hello, math friends. It's awesome to be here with you today. Today we're working on our algebra. We're going to do equations, and we're going to write them in slope-intercept form. So things we've heard a lot about, equations and slope. And then the slope is going to go into this certain form. So the form is y equals mx plus b. This is called slope-intercept form, where m is my slope and b is my y-intercept. For the rest of your math life, this will be slope-intercept form of equations. You should feel super smart knowing it. And so now let's look at what that does for us and what kind of work we have to do. So I decided to start with the kind of problem that probably takes the most amount of writing, because I know how sometimes mathematicians like to be lazy and not do a lot of writing. So I'm going to show you as bad as it gets. And then we'll work backwards to maybe some easier ones. But if we have to write the equation in slope-intercept form that passes through this point, there's two things I have to know. I have to know slope, and I have to know y-intercept. Those are my two things. Okay, so I'm going to start with slope, because when I'm given 2 points, I am about an expert now at y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. So if this is my y2, we have my 9 minus my y1, negative 6, over my x2 of negative 2 minus my x1 of 3. And so I chop, and I end up with 15 over chop, negative 2 plus negative 3 gives me negative 5. And then I do that division, 15 divided by negative 5, negative 3, and just like that, super fast, I have my m. I have half of what I need. I have my slope. Now I have to find my y-intercept. I'm going to use my super awesome algebra skills to get there. I'm going to fill in what I know. So if I know a point, and I know my slope, I should be able to fill that in, an x, a y, and a slope, to just have one missing variable, might be my y-intercept. So it's just good algebra. Here we go. I'm going to use this point right here, negative 6, 3. My y value, if I have to fill in for y equals mx plus b, my y is negative 6 equals negative 3, I just learned as my slope, times my x value of 3 plus b. I'm just going to solve for b. Negative 3 times 3 gives me negative 9 plus b equals negative 6. And now to get my b all by itself, I have to move this negative 9 by adding 9 to both sides. These 9s are going to cancel. I'm going to get b equals negative 6 plus 9 is 3. There's my b. So now I have my slope at negative 3, and I have my y-intercept at 3. I can just go ahead and fill it into the form of the equation. So I get y equals negative 3x plus 3. Done! Super awesome work! I found my slope, I found my y-intercept, I plugged it in. Done. Super good. So now let's look at one where maybe I'm given my graph. So if I'm given my graph, can I do the same thing? Well, this graph is looking super duper nice to me, because my y-intercept seems to be pretty easy to me, pretty straightforward, because it's crossing my y-axis right there. So how simple? And I go up 1, 2, 3. There it is. It crosses it at 3. So I instantly know if I'm trying to find y equals mx plus b, I instantly know my b. My b is equal to 3. Okay, and now I can look at my slope, and I remember that's always going to be rise over run in a graph. And so if I can find 2 points that cross the grid lines nice and neatly, this one already does, and then I see this one that crosses the grid lines perfectly, my slope's pretty easy to find. My rise is 1, and my run is 1, 2, 3. So I get 1 over 3. Now I also have to pay attention to that it's going downhill, and when it's going down, that's a negative slope. So I get a negative 1/3 for my m. I have my two pieces that I need to be able to write it in slope-intercept form. And so I do it. I get y equals m is negative 1/3 x plus 3. Done, dun, 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 dun. And it's pretty great. Makes me smile, makes me happy. It's all stuff that we've been working on for a long time in math, and it's putting it all together in slope-intercept form.